Hello, my name is Chef Eric Olson, and I am a bona fide Mid-American chef with a passion for local eats and local drinks. My mission? To show you some ingredients that you might not think of being Mid-American, but I assure you they are. You see, we're a large melting pot of many different cultures. We sit here at the crossroads for, well, everywhere. Along the way, I want to show you some local farmers, some local brewers, and some local winemakers, all right here from the heartland. And along the way, I'm going to be inviting a few special guests. So why don't you come with me on my surprising journey of Mid-American Eats. Hello, welcome to Mid-American Eats. I'm your host, Chef Eric Olson. Today's show, eggs, eggs, and more eggs. I got a few recipes for us that are going to touch on some things that you might not think of being Mid-American, but I promise you they are. Our first recipe we're going to do, Leonese salad with poached egg and baby spinach. The next one we're going to do is spaghetti carbonara with some nice smoky bacon in there and some raw egg, and we'll touch on that here in a little bit. And then our final recipe is going to be a creme brulee that's infused with maple syrup. So stick around for Mid-American Eats. Welcome back to Mid-American Eats. First thing we're going to tackle, Leonese salad with some baby spinach and some poached eggs, all right? We got here is a shallot, right? What we want to do is we want to clean this shallot up. Just taking the paper on the outside of it off. I'm just going to score it here. And just take out that outer layer. Take it off. Set that to the side. Move all the scrap right into the garbage. All right, we are ready here now. What we're going to do, we're going to do a mince. So I'm going to cut this in half. We're going to run the knife down real fine. Okay? And do it with the other one here. We can leave these a little hardier because they're going to go in the salad dressing and they're going to get sweat out with a little bit of the bacon that we're going to use for the vinaigrette. This one's a warm vinaigrette. We're going to go ahead and wilt the spinach a little bit. It's a nice salad. Really features the egg on top of it. All right, we got that mise en place done. We can go right into our little cup here. I tell you what, when you're using shallots, if you want to keep them nice and fresh at home, go ahead and get yourself a net bag. Purchase them in bulk, and then hang them in your basement where it's nice and cool and the sunlight can't get to them. You'll have them all winter. It's a beautiful thing. Let's just clean this up a little bit here. Do a little wipe down. And we're going to go right into some bacon here. 3 rashers of bacon. Yes, that's the technical term for it. Rashers. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make some lardons out of it. Lardons, little sticks. All right? Just rocking that knife back and forth. If you have a problem cutting it, put the 3 together, put them in the freezer, and let them freeze. Your knife will cut through it. It'll be nice and easy for you, all right? So I got a warm pan back here. Oh, so good. As you can see there, we're really building up a nice fond on the bottom of this. Shallots are cooking up nice. You want to keep stirring this. You want to make sure that you don't burn anything. Right? Just bringing that bacon up to get it crisp, which it started to crisp up. We're going to turn the heat down just a little bit here. And let this sweat out a little bit more, okay? First thing we're going to grab, a little bit of red wine vinegar. I like red wine vinegar in this because it's got a nice punch to it, okay? The acidity's a little higher. We got our bacon nice and crisp now in here. Heat's been turned down a little bit. And we're going to do a little deglaze. Hear that? That's what we're looking for. Nice deglaze of the pan. We're going to let that reduce just a little bit. I also got some sugar ready to go over here and a little bit of EVO we're going to add in just a moment. The tannins that are in red wine vinegar really work nice with the tannins that are in spinach naturally. It's not a rule that I use that I always cook with red wine vinegar if I'm going to make a salad dressing for a spinach salad, but it's usually along those lines. I'm going to go ahead and add my mustard. Okay. I'm going to add a little sugar. Go ahead and just stir this in. All right. You can use a whisk, you can use a spoon. It's going to break down pretty easy for you. Last but not least, extra virgin olive oil. When you're making a vinaigrette, remember the ratio of 3-to-1 or 2-to-1. And what that's going to be is going to be your oil first, 2 or 3, and then 1 part vinegar. Okay, we got that ready. So we're going to turn this down a little bit and let that just simmer a little bit for while we work on this over here. We have some eggs. This is what the show's all about today. Eggs, right? When I poach an egg, I like to go ahead and put it into a bowl first. Okay. I'm going to put a couple in here, but we're going to try pouring them out one at a time, okay? If you're not comfortable with doing that, go ahead and get yourself a couple extra small bowls, and that's how we're going to handle that. We're going to come back over to the stove. I have some water simmering here. Nice, slow simmer is important. Not a big roll. If you have a nice boil going, it's just going to break your egg up. So you got really tight little bubbles. So the difference between simmer and boil, simmer, tight little champagne bubbles, boil, like you're in a hot tub, okay? Just readjust that. Also, more vinegar. I got a little bit of white wine vinegar here. What this does for the egg is it helps the proteins in the albumin, or the egg white we should refer to it as, set up so it doesn't fall apart, okay? What I'm going to do is a nice slow drop. Just one of the eggs. And then I'm going to go to the other side, and I'm going to put another one of the eggs. They're going to go right to the bottom. Clean this up a little bit here. They're going to go right to the bottom and let them float on their own. Be patient here. This is when the patience pays off with this recipe. So we're looking. You notice I'm not getting in there. I'm not poking at them. I'm not playing with them. Let the eggs do what they got to do. What we want here is we want the egg whites to go ahead and set up completely. We want the yolk to still be nice and what I refer to as supple or buttery. So it's going to run right over the salad when we get ready to put it on top, all right? These eggs also, by the way, cage-free, hormone-free. If you take a look at eggs, you take a look at brown eggs, you take a look at white eggs, the only difference between the two, one comes from a hen that has the red feathers. Guess which one? The brown. The other white ones come from the hens that's got the white feathers. So we got all of this starting to set up. Looks nice. They're starting to float. We got a little bit of salad dressing over here we're going to dress this with in just a moment. All right, so our vinaigrette all finished up here. Looking nice. Smells great. What you want to do is you want to let it cool down just a little bit, not much. And we want to spoon it right over our spinach here. I'm just doing enough this time for one salad, okay? Let's dress that. Again, it's going to wilt the spinach a little bit. But this is really, really a nice, simple salad. And this salad can be summertime, it can be wintertime, all the way around. A little salt and pepper. Here's the most important thing, folks. Don't be afraid to season your food. So what I'm going to do is bring my plate down. Make sure we got all that nice bacon on top of there. So good. But then we're missing something, aren't we? What are we missing? The egg. Let's come on over here. Nice and carefully take the egg up out of it right there. So here we are, the poached egg, finding a brand new nest right on top of the salad. There we are. Poached egg salad lyonnaise. Enjoy. Welcome back to Mid-American Eats. This next Egg-Tastic recipe we got for you, some spaghetti carbonara. So what we need to do is start out with some egg custard, actually. Custard being the terminology of taking eggs and marrying it to some heavy cream, okay? Let's crack a couple eggs into the bowl here. Those in the garbage, wipe my hands off real quick. We're just going to start by whipping the eggs a little here. Beat them, make sure they're incorporated. What I like to do is add a little bit of salt and pepper. All right. We're going to add a little heavy cream. Okay. That's where the custard comes in. Again, we're going to whisk it together. Make sure everything's incorporated. Later on, we're going to introduce some more black pepper to this recipe. This recipe is old. It's from northern Italy. It has to do with coal mining. Carbonara, carbon being the coal. We're going to introduce some black pepper to the bacon and onions we're going to do here in a little bit, and that kind of represents the coal. I'm also going to add a little bit of Parmigiano here. It's a nice artisan Parmesan from Wisconsin. Smells great. We're going to whip this right in, right here. Just incorporate it in. Scraping down the side, making sure that everything's in there, right? Meantime, we're going to set this off to the side. We're going to let it come up to room temperature, and later on we're going to temper it with a little bit of water. We can start on is, got a little bacon here, nice fresh bacon, thick cut. A little pancetta. I don't know if you're familiar with pancetta. Pancetta is an unsmoked, curled pork belly, kind of like bacon, cured the same way. Very popular in Italian cuisine. We're going to start with a little bit of white onion. Now with our onions here, we want to make sure that we're nice and sweet, high sugar content in the onions. We can go ahead and we're going to clean this off. Taking out that outer skin. Taking the paper and the skin and making sure it goes right in the garbage. Now you could save the skin, or as I refer to it, the paper, for stocks, but I don't like them in my stocks myself. I think it makes them a little bit bitter. I'm going to do a little wipe down here. We'll cut it right in half, and what we're going to do is some julienne of onion, okay? And the way we do that is we go ahead and we just rest the knife and right through, just like that. I like to tilt this one towards it, what I'm working on the board there. Plenty of onion. Good stuff here. I'm going to put that right back in the bowl so it'll make a nice, easy transfer over to our place that we're going to cook. Scrapers. They're worth their weight in gold in the kitchen. This dish also, if you didn't want to use onions, you don't have to, but traditionally, it's in there. Next thing we're going to do, some lardons of bacon again. We talked about that. And we also have the pancetta I'm going to go ahead and line up on the cutting board here. What I like to do is just kind of layer this pancetta, cut it in half, fold it right back over, cut the bâtonnets out of it just like that, right there, and then split them here. So they're the same size and will cook just as fast as the bacon is already, okay? So we're going to come over here. I got my water coming up to a simmer. I'm going to add a little salt, okay? A little olive oil to the water. Now, a lot of people have asked the questions, why do you add salt to the water? Why do you add a little oil? Well, the salt actually brings up the density of the water, which raises the boiling level, right? So it's a little bit hotter than just plain water. Also, the oil helps the pasta not stick when you're pouring it out. But we're going to show you a little bit more of that later, okay? Got our onions. And I'm going to take my saute pan directly over to my cutting board and put the pancetta and the bacon in it, okay? Oh, that smells good. Medium-high heat. What we're going to do is we're going to start rendering this out, okay? What I like to do at this point is add some black pepper. Number one, it toasts along with the bacon. And it really is kind of one of the stars in this dish, along with the bacon and the onion. The reason why this dish was so popular with Italians, especially coal miners, is it has a high fat content. This is not health food, I'm going to warn you. This is hearty food. Here in the United States, a lot of coal mines, especially in middle America. If you take a look at the countryside, it's dotted with it everywhere. All right, so we're starting to render it down. Render some fat out. Traditionally, this is made with all pancetta. Myself, I like to put a little bit of smoky bacon in it, build up the flavors in it. We got our water boiling here. It's very important to make sure it's up to a pretty hard boil. Got the heat turned up all the way. When you're cooking pasta, you got to have it at a full boil. Another thing, if you take and you make about a quarter size shape with your hands, right? That's about one portion of pasta. 1 to 2, depending on what size of the dish. I'm going to call it 1. When I drop the pasta in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of go in a rotating fashion, right? Make sure we got the pasta claw right available. And you're just going to bend the pasta right into the water, okay? Making sure it's submerged. So again, we got that Maillard reaction going. We're going to introduce some white sweet onion in here. What we want to do is we want to start this onion caramelizing. So I'm going to give this a couple more flips here. And I know we got this nice salty bacon in here, but I'm going to salt and pepper just a little bit more. Bring a little more black pepper into the situation. When you're caramelizing onions, it's important to have medium-high heat, not too high of heat. You can burn the onion. There's no two ways about it. What you just want is a nice, rich brown. I don't like to caramelize mine so much that there's not a little bit of crunch left in it for this dish because I think it's part of the texture. You got a soft texture such as the pasta in here. I like to add some different textures to my food, so I like to keep it kind of neutral. Oh, here we go. This dish, I actually found about 15 years ago. Carbonara was really in its heyday, kind of finding the craze. I think people have started ignoring it again. It's a great dish, nice, hearty. Here, we want to make sure we're stirring our pasta so we keep it nice and separate. What I did here is I got the really large spaghetti. I like that large spaghetti. It's going to catch a lot of the good things that this dish has to offer. As you can see, we're starting to caramelize here. So, got it caramelizing. We got the bacon nice and crispy. We got our pasta working. When we come back, we're going to put this dish all together. So meet me right back here at Mid-American Eats. Welcome back to Mid-American Eats. We're here working on some carbonara, one of my favorite dishes. Here it is. Getting them nice and caramelized. Got the bacon getting nice and crispy again. Smells smoky, a nice background flavor. And our pasta, let's test out this pasta. So how am I going to test out the pasta? Well, you know what? I'm not going to throw it at the wall. I'm just going to take it right between my teeth. Still needs to be al dente. Al dente, tender to the tooth. If you break it open, you should see a little white ring in the center of it, okay? So that pasta's just about done there. Actually, here, I'm going to grab these. And we're going to take it off. I'm going to turn down my bacon here. We don't want nothing to burn. This is too good. I'm going to pour off the water. In the midst of this pour off though, what I want to do is I want to take a little hot water here from this pasta and I want to pour it right into my eggs just to start to temper them eggs. Okay? So here it is. We're tempering them up a little bit. We're going to slowly start adding this pasta to it. We're going to take a little of this pasta, put it right in the bottom of this bowl, right? We're going to mix it up. We don't want to scramble these eggs, right? We don't want to scramble the eggs. We just want to put a little bit at a time. We just want to coat this pasta. Now you're saying, come on, Eric. You're not cooking them eggs? We are cooking the eggs right now. I'm going to add a little more Parmigiano, more than a little more. Make sure these get mixed up nice. It's getting tempered. And then we got one more item to come in here. One more. Let's not forget star of the show here. Nice caramelized onions in that bacon. So good. Mixing it all up together. Making sure everything's incorporated. Make sure that egg gets tempered, but it doesn't scramble. It kind of freaks people out when you're dealing with a quote-unquote raw egg, but people have to remember that when you're eating mayonnaise or you're eating a chocolate mousse, you're still eating raw egg at that point. We're going to go ahead for the plate up. I'm going to set that to the side right here. If you had to hold it for a while, go ahead and put some plastic wrap over it, okay? Oh. What you want to do is a little twist nest, right? Like I said, that was one portion of pasta. Really, if you want to extend it out, it can be two. Again, we eat pretty hearty in my house, so that's one portion of pasta for us. A little bit of Parmesan over it. Oh, let's bring a little floral into it too. Just a little bit of Italian parsley. Just a nice rustic, rough chop on it. Taking the stems out right across the top of that. And there we are. Spaghetti carbonara. When you come back, we're going to do a little bit of maple infused creme brulee. So don't change that dial. Welcome back to Mid-American Eats. Thanks for not changing that dial. This next recipe, maple infused creme brulee. Good stuff here. Still on eggs. What I got over here is some eggs already in the bowl, but I want to show you how to separate an egg out. So crack. Just pour it into that hand. Tossing it back and forth, letting the albumen or the egg white, like we refer to it, just fall away naturally. There it is. Right into the bowl. Let me clean up a little bit here, folks. Now, if you want to save those egg whites, that's fine. If you know somebody that likes an all-egg white omelet, or maybe you're going to make a souffle, or maybe a little bit of mousse, reserve them. So, what I'm going to do here is, I got all 5 of my egg yolks in here. I'm just going to whip them until they froth a little tiny bit. You're going to see a little color change in them. You're going to turn from dark yellow into a light yellow. All right? Next, Mid-American maple syrup made right here in the center of the country. Oh, it just smells great. Whip that in. And then our sugar. Let's not forget about that sugar. All right, so we got everything incorporated into this bowl here. Now for the second part of our recipe. We're going to go ahead and set this to the side. And a little vanilla bean. Now, if you don't have vanilla bean, try to make sure you get some vanilla paste. Vanilla extract itself is okay in a pinch, but really you want to go with quality here. What you do is you go ahead, split this vanilla bean right down the center. Take your time. Use your knife. You're going to have two halves here, right? And what you're going to do is you're going to take a look at what you just cut, and you're going to grab the end of this, and you're going to scrape your knife all the way down the center of it. And there's your vanilla beans. That's what we're working for right there. Now what I like to do is take the hull to the bean, right, and the vanilla beans right over to our heavy cream that we got working. I'm going to bend these right into it, and we're going to put our vanilla beans right in our heavy cream here. What we're doing is we're bringing this up to just a low simmer. We just want to cook the vanilla into it. We're going to make sure that the vanilla beans are getting nice and incorporated here. Don't walk away from your cream. If you walk away, it's a chance it can go ahead and it can boil over. There we are. So come back here with me. Come up to a nice froth. We got our eggs. Grab a ladle and a whisk again. First things first here. We need to temper these eggs. If you don't temper them, they're just going to scramble on you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little of the heavy cream in there. And we're going to whisk it right in. Okay. We're going to do this a couple times. Bringing up the temp slowly of the yolk, making sure that it doesn't cook, it doesn't scramble on us. All right, now we got it to the point where you can actually feel the bowl. It's a little warm. Pretty safe to start adding away now. Notice, there's the hulls right there. Part 3 of this recipe. We're going to come over. We're going to ladle this custard, and that's what it is. Remember we talked about it being a custard earlier. Right into our ramekins here. You want to fill them almost all the way to the top. Don't get them too full. You got to do a little balancing act on the way to the stove here. Put this right to the side. You want a 350 degree oven, okay? Then here's the little trick for you. What we're going to do is we're going to add a little water back to this. This is going to keep the bottom from burning. I like to put the pan in the oven first and then pour my water in instead of trying to juggle everything and get in the oven, all right? Okay, so we got them baking. They need to go about 45 minutes, somewhere in there. And we're going to check them out when we come back, and then we're going to finish some up that I already got in the fridge chilling, all right? So come on back to Mid-American Eats. Welcome back to Mid-American Eats. Thanks for not changing that dial. Here, we got a couple of the creme brulees that I've put in the refrigerator for about 2.5 hours, chilled down, and make sure they're nice and custardy and ready to go. We're going to go ahead and sprinkle this brown sugar on here. I like to use my hands. I tell you what, when we first met, me and my wife, absolutely one of her favorite desserts. In fact, still to this day, if we go out to dinner, I'll guarantee you, every time she orders dessert, if it's on there, she's going to order it. Dry my hands off, and we're going to smooth this out with just a little spoon here. This is just a wonderful dessert. French by nature, but Mid-American by adoption. Go ahead and give it a nice crust here. Really smells like marshmallows. And there we go. Maple infused creme brulee. So here we are at the end. Salinaise. We got ourselves a little bit of carbonara, and now our maple infused creme brulee. You know, if I was going to have this dinner, I was going to pick anything right here from August Hill, the Chardonnay. It's a 2008 wonderful white wine. Goes great with this. If you're talking about buttery flavors, this is it. I'm telling you. I love that wine. Well, I want to thank our sponsors, Jill and everybody at August Hill, and Rick at Body and Soul in Morris, Illinois, for providing all the eggs for the show. Until next time, this is Mid-American Eats.